person. David was called a man after God's own heart, right? But remember, he was not called a perfect man. He was called a man after God's own heart. That means he was constantly chasing after the Lord. I want to be like you, I love you, I want you, forgive me, make me like you. He was never satisfied. He understood the covenant. He understood what the Lord... And please remember, he didn't have the Holy Spirit. You know, like who awesomely whispers in our ears, right? But David didn't have that. He was like all on his own in the stillness of every circumstance and situation. So David needed a man like that. The question is, do you and I strengthen each other's arms? The question is, do you and I walk by each other and say, hey, don't worry, I'm here, don't worry. Just keep going. You'll make it through. Do you know that people grow the maximum when people are affirmed? That means if you tap their shoulder. That means if you tell them they can do it. Do you know that instead of telling me, you can't do it, you're absolutely horrible, you're never going to make it, such a failure. That's all you hear in the corporate world, right? All these things are going right in your work life. Improve on this, improve on this, improve on this, improve on this. They only don't know how to improve. I keep telling them, you don't have to back people and tell them to improve. Tell them what they're good at. Let them do that. Because they'll excel. Champions are made not because they try to do everything, church. Champions are made because they do what they're good at. If you want to be a champion, do what you love and what you're good at. That's the discussion I had with Dora yesterday. Sachin Tendulkar, in no way newspapers will tell you that Sachin Tendulkar was grade 1 in standard 12. So anyway, nothing. His focus and attention was on nothing else but cricket. That doesn't mean they don't have to study guys and go to school. That's not what I said. Okay? I still expect Judah and Mary to stand first in class. I told them there's no option. These things in life are non-optional. Whatever you do with the spirit of excellence. Whether it's going to work, going to school, drawing something, writing something, singing a song, doing your sheets, welcoming somebody, putting the chairs, do it with the spirit of excellence that when people walk by they say, wow, who did that? Everything we do, if you do it with the spirit of excellence like the rest over Joshua and Daniel, you will succeed. The problem with most of us is that we're very happy just being mediocre. Chalta hai. Hey, it's okay, at least I did it. Nah, I sang a song all wrong, but at least I sang. If you talk to someone like me, I'll tell you, never forget this. Please go practice, get it right. I won't tell you that was awesomely sung for the Lord. Never. You say, I'm being hard. I'm telling you, oh, you're not getting it right. It's book you're reading. Look at this one. They did it right. When they entered the promised land, they entered the promised land. When there was a Joshua, there was a Caleb, and Aggie and myself were talking about it this week. Caleb never said to Joshua, hey, listen, I'm the one who actually spoke for us. You didn't say anything that day. I'm the one who said that there are giants in the land, but we'll make it. You were only standing there. Correct? Who became the leader? Joshua. Ah, interesting. Leadership changes when transition changes. You understand? Every leader who will take you through the recession will not make it into the promised land. God has an ability to change leaders, whether it's world leaders or whatever, within your organization. So learn those tips quickly. We'll do well if we learn this word fast. The faster we get it, the better. We'll succeed. All the secrets are in the Word. So you have this man who was a mediator. It's a funny spot to be. Jonathan, throughout this verses, is nothing but a mediator. He's only hearing from David. David is saying, your father wants to kill me. Jonathan is saying, no way, what are you talking? My father didn't want to kill you. My father never do things like that you're telling me. David says, excuse me, honey. You're getting this right. This is chapter 20. 1 Samuel chapter 20. Okay? Just in case you think I'm joking, we'll go to it. Chapter 20 of 1 Samuel. Then David fled from Naoth to Ramah and went and said to Jonathan, what have I done? What is my iniquity? What is my sin before your father that he seeks my life? So Jonathan said to him, by no means. You shall not die. Indeed, my father will do nothing either great or small without first telling me. And why should my father from me. It is not so. To which David says, then David took an oath again and said, your father certainly knows that I have found favor in your eyes, and he has said, do not let Jonathan know this, let him be grieved. But truly, as the Lord lives and as your soul lives, there is but a step between me and death. So now Jonathan was in a very funny spot. Imagine. He's his father's son, next to the throne, next in line, lives in his father's house, and probably has a great relationship. There's nowhere in scripture that the Bible tells us that David and Saul had a bad relationship. That means they had a good one. So here is Jonathan, totally in love with David. And here on the other side, totally in love with his father. He's like a mediator. So if you ever think you're like the son between the mother-in-law and the daughter, don't, this is exactly how Jonathan felt. Yeah? Constantly the mediator, totally in love with both. So if you want to learn the secret of how to manage that situation, read the story. Till the end, he stood by both. He never took sides. He went and mediated with his father and said, Father, what about David? And tried to speak and change his mind. And for a time he would relent. Saul would relent. You get to his mad phases. Suddenly he decides, Mr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde. He's like a crazy guy. Keep on shifting his attention back and forth. But Jonathan never shifted his attention. Jonathan's heart was set on doing right. Jonathan's heart was set on fearing God and living in accordance with the covenant he made with his friends. You need to understand, at no point of time did Jonathan tell David, listen, my friend, my father's running after you because you were anointed as king. Actually, it's my place, So I should just move out. Give me my spot. This is my rightful spot. Heir to the throne. Who are you, shepherd boy? Nowhere did Jonathan said that. You see, in our everyday life, at work, what do you say? I'm up for the promotion. Mr. B got the promotion. You go to Mr. B and say, excuse me, why not you got the promotion? You took the right in the organization. I'm here for 10 years. They haven't noticed me. Where did you come from? Jonathan didn't do that. Right? I was watching last week when we were worshipping. Suddenly I looked up and I was watching, they were just singing the first song, I was just watching everybody. My eyes fell on Josephine. And the minute my eyes fell on her, the Lord said something to me. He said to me, tell her that I will bless her only because she has great attitude. You know why I'm saying that? Josephine is never worried if she gets the mic. Never. Watch her. Never. She will sing with all her heart to the Lord, irrespective of whether you can hear her or not. She is not bothered. I call that great attitude. I watch everyone in my team. I can tell you everything about all of them. Things that they don't realize I notice. But I notice them all the time. Because you must know who's in your team. You must know, right? And when I went home, I told her that this is what the Lord told me about you. And I blessed her on that basis. You see, the Lord sees your attitude and my attitude. Sometimes we think that nobody knows. But the Lord knows. And the funny thing is, people also notice. Yeah? You take, we do something in work called assessment centers. Right? And if you've been through them, you understand they can be actually quite grilling and painful. I've been through them myself, but I spend more time by God's grace doing them than being in them, which is great. So you sit like an all-great person on the other side with two other proper people as judges, and everybody is there, and then you're assessing them on many different aspects of work. These are called assessment centers. They think, and everybody is putting on their best face. But the sad part of life is that you work with them every day, so you know them. Right? So today he turns up with his best face with an awesome attitude. 10 days ago he worked with a guy in a project, it was disaster. Right? He couldn't get along with anybody on the team. Today he's telling you all the right answers when you're sitting in front of him. If you don't know the guy, you'll probably think, wow, what a superstar. But if you know the guy, what do you say? I know exactly how you are. I don't know why you're bothering to put this face on. Right? exactly how we are with the Lord. He knows all of us inside out. Yet very often we put on our best face, our Sunday face, Friday face, whatever. But inside the heart, what's bubbling, God knows. Because He knows the issues of our heart. So just like that, God knew both Jonathan's heart and David's heart. He could weigh both. He could see it. He could understand it. And He knew exactly what to do about it. Now the interesting thing in that same chapter, 20, where we are at, and verse 4. What does it say? So Jonathan said to David, whatever you yourself desire, I will do it for you. You see, he knew that David was in a very tough spot. And he went to him and told him, listen, whatever you want, I'll do it. Just say it. How many times do you and I say things like that to people? Do we ever go and say, you don't have to tell them, I know you're in a very tough spot, I know you're having a very financial problem. Just go to them and say whatever help you want. And I'm not talking financial help, so don't go and quote me wrong. I'm not telling you to part with all your finances with everybody. That is not in this book. I don't know which book you're reading, but please read in context. Okay? The church in the olden days met the need. Means food, water, shelter, clothing. But what am I talking about? I'm talking about beyond that. I'm talking about standing with someone and making covenants with them that you and I will keep. Telling them, it's like a marriage, right? You tell each other, no matter what, I'll stick with you. That means if you're married for 1 year, 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, 50 years, I'll still be with you. I'll still be with you. I remember that I was reading a story several years ago about this couple who were married for nearly 50 years, very old. And she gets sick, very sick, and she gets, palsy, her face is deformed, and she's like in her 80s, and it doesn't look good anymore, and she's in this old home, and he cannot look after her because he himself is struggling. He cannot walk properly, and there's lots of issues in their life. And he goes to meet his wife in this room of hers, where he has paid to look after her, with his nurses to look after. She's very sick, and she's like half, dazed, half in sleep, half not really alert. And the nurse records that when he went to his wife, he wanted to kiss his wife and say hello, because she could not in any way communicate with him. But he wanted her to know that he was there. So he went to her, he bent down, and he didn't kiss her forehead. He went to that part of her lips that was totally mangled, and he shaped his mouth to the mangled lips, and he kissed his wife to tell her, I'm with